If you've spent most of your adult life equating how busy you are with how valuable you are, this video is for you. If you feel guilty when you rest, if you fill every quiet moment with something productive, if slowing down feels less like relief and more like failure, this video is for you. And if you've noticed that no matter how much you get done, it never feels quite like enough, that the finish line keeps moving and the exhaustion keeps building, I want you to stay with me here. Because what we've been taught about productivity, about rest, and about what it means to take care of ourselves has gotten a lot of things wrong. And in midlife, the cost of those beliefs starts showing up in your body in ways that are very hard to ignore. Let's start by acknowledging something. The women who are drawn to a channel called Restore and Regulate are not lazy. They're not uncommitted. They're not people who need to be told to try harder. They're women who have been trying harder for decades, managing careers, households, relationships, children, aging parents, often all at once, and often without adequate support, and almost always while holding themselves to a standard of output that would exhaust anyone. The exhaustion you feel is not a character flaw. It's a logical outcome of a very long time of doing too much on too little recovery. And here's the part that matters physiologically. We talked in the last two videos about cortisol and what chronic stress does to the body. Every single thing we covered, the disrupted sleep, the metabolic changes, the immune suppression, the mood and cognitive effects, all of it is compounded by a lifestyle that treats rest as something you earn, rather than something your body requires. You cannot out-supplement a recovery deficit. You cannot out-exercise a nervous system that never gets to down-regulate. The body keeps score, and at some point, often right around perimenopause, when the hormonal buffer starts to thin, it starts presenting that bill. That's not a scare tactic. That's just biology. And understanding it is the first step toward actually changing it. The narrative that most of us absorbed growing up goes something like this. Your worth is tied to your output. Rest is something you earn. If you're busy, that means you're important. And if you're not producing, you're falling behind. This is not a personal failing. This is a cultural one. We live in a society that has commodified human energy and called it virtue. Hustle culture did not start with Instagram. It's been woven into the fabric of how women especially have been conditioned to show up, do more, need less, and keep going. And for a long time, many of us did keep going because we're capable, because we're driven, because we genuinely care about the things and people we're pouring ourselves into. But capability is not the same as sustainability. And driven doesn't mean that you're immune to depletion. Here's what the science actually tells us about productivity. And this is where the narrative starts to unravel. Research consistently shows that sustained cognitive performance, creativity, emotional regulation, and physical output all require adequate recovery. You need downtime from those things. This is not a nice to have. This is a requirement. The brain consolidates learning during rest. The body repairs tissue during sleep. The nervous system resets during periods of genuine downtime. Without those windows of recovery built into your days and weeks, you're not actually being more productive. You're borrowing against a reserve that is not being replenished. In midlife, perimenopause, postmenopause, with declining estrogen and progesterone, reducing your physiological resilience to stress, the margin for that kind of borrowing gets significantly smaller. What your body could absorb in your 30s without obvious consequence starts surfacing differently in your 40s and your 50s. Not because you've become weaker, but because the system is asking for what it always needed. So if the old model of productivity isn't working, and for most high-achieving midlife women, it isn't, what does a new model look like? It starts with expanding your definition of what counts as productive. Rest is productive. Sleep is productive. A walk with no destination is productive. Sitting quietly and letting your nervous system decompress is productive. Not because those things lead to more output, even though they do, but because they're the conditions under which your body and brain actually function. This isn't a reframe just to make you feel better about taking a break. It's a physiological reality. Your parasympathetic nervous system, the branch that's responsible for rest, repair, digestion, immune function, and emotional regulation, essentially rest and digest, can only do its job when you give it space to activate. Every time you fill a quiet moment with stimulation, with productivity, with scrolling, with doing, you are interrupting that process. Think of it this way. If you never let your phone charge and just keep using it until it died, you wouldn't call that efficiency. You'd call it poor maintenance. Your nervous system works the same way. It actually needs downtime, not just sleep, but periods throughout the day where the input slows and the system gets to process and restore. This is what slower on purpose means. It doesn't mean doing less than you're capable of. It means being intentional about building recovery into your life, the same way you build in your other commitments, the same way you're going to build in a workout, the same way you're going to build in eating healthy. You're going to build the recovery in. You don't just wait until whatever's left. It's something that gets protected because you understand what's at stake when it doesn't. Knowing this intellectually and actually doing it are two very different things. So let's talk about what gets in the way. Because for most women, the barrier is not information. It's deeper than that. The first barrier is guilt. The moment you stop moving, the internal voice starts. You should be doing something. Other people are working harder than you are. You don't deserve to rest yet. You have to keep going. That voice is not wisdom. It's conditioning. And like all conditioning, it can be examined and gradually changed. But it takes deliberate practice. It's not just deciding. You actually have to practice it. The second barrier is identity. For many high-achieving women, busyness has become part of how they understand themselves. Slowing down can feel like losing a piece of who you are. Like if you're not producing, you're not enough. Untangling productivity from identity is some of the most meaningful work a woman can do. And it doesn't happen overnight. But it starts with noticing the equation and questioning whether it was ever actually true. The third barrier is practical. The real demands of a full life don't pause because you've decided to slow down. There's still responsibilities. There's still people who need things. There's still work that has to get done. Being slower on purpose doesn't mean abandoning those things. It means finding the micro moments of genuine recovery within a real life and protecting them with the same energy that you protect everything else. So practically, where do you begin? You're going to need to start smaller than you think you need to. Not a 2-week vacation or a complete schedule overhaul. Just one protected window per day where the goal is recovery and nothing else. That can look like 10 minutes of sitting outside without your phone. A slow walk that is not a workout. 5 minutes of deliberate breathing before bed. Something that signals to your nervous system, this is safe, you can let go here. And then notice what happens. Not dramatically. Just pay attention to how you feel after that window versus days when you skip it. The data your own body gives you is more compelling than anything I could ever tell you. From there, you need to start looking at where in your week you can build a longer window. Not because you earned that time, but because it belongs there. And begin questioning the guilt when it shows up, not fighting it, not suppressing it, just asking, is this voice telling me the truth? Or is it repeating something I was taught that never actually served me? That questioning, done consistently over time, is how the narrative starts to shift. It may not be fast, but it's definitely real. And real habits are built through consistency. Slowing down on purpose is not the opposite of ambition. It's what makes sustained ambition possible. The women who thrive in their 50s, 60s, and beyond, who feel strong and clear and genuinely well, they're not the ones who pushed the hardest and rested the least. They're the ones who learned, and sometimes the hard way, that taking care of their nervous system was not optional. Recovery is not a reward. That they were allowed to matter in their own equation. You are allowed to matter in your own equation. If this is landing for you, make sure you subscribe so you don't miss what's coming next. We're going to keep building on this because understanding why you need to slow down is just the beginning. Learning how to actually do it in a life that isn't slowing down all around you is where it gets practical. I'll see you in the next one.